There we go. Check one. Fantastic. All right, here we go. Ready to rock and roll. What's up, guys? There we go. Sandro's on the live chat. Lance coming to you from SRL. Season 8, Round 14 here at the Azerbaijan Grand Prix for Baku. Getting guys loading in, getting ready to do round 14 of what, I'm sorry, round 15. Isn't it? Yeah, I think I screwed up on the heading there. But yeah, round 15 of season 8. That's all right. Sandra will fix it. All right. Sorry about all the miscommunication there, folks. But here we go, getting ready to kick off round 15 of season 8 here at SRL F1 2022 on the PlayStation platform. Coming off of a wild round 14 at Monza last week. We had Oleski, who's been a championship contender for most of the years, walk away with his first win of the season after Logan Aron secured his 9th pole position of the season. Oleski would go on to win the race. Logan Aron would finish second with his 9th podium of the season. Friab Bilay finished 3rd last week, and it should be noted that Friab Bilay now has 4 podiums to his finish and has never finished outside the top 5 since he joined this league a few rounds ago. Tim Ventic, championship contender, would finish 4th, unfortunately, allowing Logan Aron to extend his championship points lead over them. Robin Herterstegen had a season-best 5th place finish last week. Ivan Brito with another points-paying finish in 6th. Nicolo Falzaresi, it was his home Grand Prix, crashed out in qualifying. He did set the fastest lap during the race, but only managed to finish 7th. Christian Dormer would finish 8th. Cameron Weston-Edwards had a great race. He did finish in 6th with a 5-second time penalty assessed at the end of the race. Dropped him to 9th. And Jurma Rusic with a much-needed points-paying finish rounded out your top 10. Sandro Dulius and Dion Stahl finished 11th and 12th last week. It was a bad day for Ferrari. Luke Smith had a rough outing as well, as he would finish 13th. And then 14th through 17th was all DNFs, unfortunately. Louis Quinlan making his SRL return would crash out and finish 14th. Lewis Marshall, who made his SRL return a few rounds ago, crashed out. Nick Van Gelder with his 3rd DNF of the season, 2nd one in a row. 2 times in a row we've had him in the booth with us because of that. And Senna Haywire would get his 5th DNF of the season as we get ready to kick off an 18-minute short qualifying session, followed by a 50% race here at Azerbaijan. We'll run down the driver lineup for today. Sandro Dulius will be in the Ferrari. Jesper Lempinen in the AlphaTauri. Wakanda 23 FC is Friab Bilay, who's been extremely impressive since joining the league. He'll be in the Alpine. Cameron Weston-Edwards is going to be looking to make up for last week. Will be in the McLaren. Oleski coming off of last week's win, be in the AlphaTauri. Tim Ventic and Logan Aron, your 2 main championship contenders for Team Haas. Logan Aron was able to extend his points lead. He does now have 229 points to his credit. Tim Ventic in 2nd with 195 points. Oleski, though, was able to catapult himself back into 3rd in the championship point standings with that win last week. 165 points to his credit as he would catapult himself over Nicolo Falzaresi. Falzaresi would drop to 4th in points with 158. Louis Quinlan back in the Mercedes this week, along with Luke Smith, who has a qualifying ban because of an instance last week. Lewis Marshall will be in the Williams. Ivan Brito coming off of 2 strong finishes back-to-back. He'll be looking to do it again today. Vincenzo Torri be in the Alfa Romeo, currently 5th in points with 101. He's actually tied with Sandro Dulius at 101 apiece. Friab Bilay, meanwhile, and we talked a little bit about him, he is technically 6th in points, or 7th, I guess. He's got 100 points to his credit. Dion Stahl in the Ferrari. Nicolo Falzaresi in the Alfa Romeo, Nick Van Gelder in the Red Bull, and then we've got Christian Dorman in the Williams, and then I am your spectator and your commentator for today's race. I believe we were waiting for a couple of other drivers to join in. Rounding out your top 10 in points would be Max Mulder would be next, 85 points to his credit. However, he has been banned for the rest of the season because of instances off track that are derogatory, I guess, towards the stewards. Ended up costing him a penalty. He's still allowed to compete in the GT3 championship, but I do not believe he's elected to not do that moving forward, so we will not see Max Mulder again, unfortunately, until sometime, hopefully next year. Jensen Randall and Luke Smith round out your top 10 in points, both reserve drivers. Jensen Randall with 56 and Luke Smith with 55. Qualifying bans for the day is Luke Smith. We talked about that for incidents last week, along with Senna Haywire and Nicolo Falzarezzi. So it looks like most of these guys are getting ready to run this race. You guys can check us out on Instagram. You can check us out on the interweb. Link is in the bio below. Be sure to like, subscribe, and comment to the YouTube channel. Check us out on the live stream here. If you got questions, feel free to live chat with us while we race. 18-minute short qualifying session, followed by a 50% race, which will be 26 laps for today's event. Whippo Film on the live chat saying this will be chaos. Well, if it's anything like Monza was last week, it certainly can be. We have seen some wild races here in the past. Obviously, Baku, a very tight circuit in most places. So not a full grid for today's race, but a very strong grid. A lot of fast drivers. You know, we talked about Louis Quinlan a little bit last week. Granted, he did have a DNF, finished 14th. He did lead the race for a little while, was running up in the podium positions, did show flashes of speed. Nicolo Falzarezzi obviously getting the fastest lap last week. Crashed out in qualifying, started dead last, worked his way forward, had a bit of an up and down day, was able to get that fastest lap and put a top 10 finish together. Obviously, Aleski, the pit strategy worked out for him well, able to catapult himself up into third in points. So 16 cars for today's race as we try to get... Yes, we're going to want lap data. We're going to want a track map. And we're going to wait and see who decides to leave first. Usually it's Logan Arand is usually the first one out on track in most cases. And there we see a Haas leaving the pits. That is more than likely him. And yes, that would be Logan Arand, first out of the pits. Looks like he's on the soft tires. Logan trying to secure himself another championship within another league. He's got a championship in IRL, which was the International Racing League that we've talked about sometimes in the past. He also secured a championship a few years ago in the IRS, which was the International Racing Series. And now looking to try and do it here for SRL. On his outlap heading through the castle section. We'll hop on board with him once we get a hot lap going. See, a lot of guys are coming out on track, though. We've got Lewis Marshall, Christian Dorman, Aleski, Louis Quinlan, all on outlaps. Ivan Brito on the live chat. Good to see him. Unfortunately, don't concentrate on me. Concentrate on your race there, Ivan. And Cameron Weston-Edwards has left the session. Possibly internet issues early for Cameron Weston-Edwards. We'll see if he can get back in. And we're going to hop on board with Logan Arand as he starts his first hot lap of the day. Going full song down this long straightaway, heading into turn one. Down into turn two. Ooh, runs it all the way out to the wall. DRS slot open. Trying to use as much track as possible. Keeps it smooth and steady. Runs it wide again. Got a caution flag flying in sector 3. There's a very tricky section here. Looks like he's got some slower traffic in front of him. We'll see how he tries to contend with that. Ooh, cuts that corner a little tight, really pushing the boundaries of the track limits there as he gets ready to head up into the castle section. Ooh, my goodness, that is tight. Looks like that was his teammate, Tim Ventic. Generously gets out of the way as he lets his teammate Logan Aron and championship contender go by. Oh, Logan right up against the wall there. And this is absolutely a tight course, and Senna Haywire has joined the session, so I don't know that Senna will be able to get in to set a qualifying lap. We'll have to wait and see. And Cameron Weston Edwards has rejoined the session, so hopefully he's not having too terrible of internet issues and he can put a hot lap in. Logan Aron sets the time 1:39.411. Got Lewis Marshall coming down the front straightaway now. Caution flag flies sector 1. Lewis is going to be off the pace just a little bit, but he'll be able to set a time. Alesky's going 1:47.03. Lewis Marshall 1:42.582. Ooh, looks like we just picked up Christian Dorman. Looks like he might have bumped the wall there. Trying to see where some of these other drivers are. Oh, Louis Quinlan has gone around. So he'll try and get going again. He's going to have to come back around and try again. Tim Ventic. Looks like he's on a flyer. Haas versus Haas. We see Vincenzo Torri has set a time 1:48.21. Christian Dorman 1:41.369. Dion Stahl 1:42. So right now, Logan Aron, the only driver to crack into the 1:39s. He's 1.2 seconds faster than Jesper Lempinen. He's right along with Tim Ventic, his teammate. Looks like Tim is not going to get into the 1:39s this time by either. 1:41.506, only good enough for 6th quickest. Nick Van Gelder's going 1:42.575. Right now, Lewis Marshall is the slowest of the timed laps. We'll pick up Sandro Dulius. Sandro out onto the long front straightaway. And it looks like he's invalidated his lap time at some point. Christian Dorman has just retired from the session, possibly having an off into the wall. Looks like he's binned it. His time will be locked in at a 1:41.369. Right now, that's good enough for 5th quickest. We'll pick up Cameron Weston Edwards, currently on an out lap. Now Cameron, it'll be interesting to see Cameron's car in a straight line because Cameron generally likes to run low downforce. He likes to set up a little loose. We've seen it time and time again, especially at Monza last week, where even if the guy behind him has DRS down the straightaway, Cameron's car is able to stay out in front because of how slippery it is. So, however, what he gains in top speed, he gives up in grip, so he'll have to set up the car a lot differently than some of these other guys. A lot of these other guys rely on the aerodynamic grip of the car, where Cameron sets up the car to rely on the mechanical grip, which is a little bit different than most drivers. It's very unorthodox in this day and age. So Cameron had a great battle last week of a lot of different guys on track. He did cross the line last week in 6th position. Unfortunately, the stewards took a look at an incident after the race that was reported by Lewis Marshall, where they had gotten together. Unfortunately, Cameron got a 5-second time penalty, and that dropped him down through the field. Struggled a little bit on that corner there as he gets ready to head into the castle section. Not quite as neat and tidy as some of the other drivers that we've seen as he's currently heading down in this section here. The short chute down to the left-hander. Oh, all the way out to the wall. And now on to the front straightaway with some of these quick, flat-out turns. And Cameron running well over 200 miles an hour down across the line, a 141.769. I think I saw a 211, a flash across his steering wheel as a top speed, and possibly even faster down that front straightaway. However, 141.769, still not good enough to beat out Christian Dorman. So we do see some of the other times. We've got Jesper Lempinen, 140.673, Aleski, 147.03, and then Vincenzo Torri with a good effort at a 148.21. So those are the four drivers, second, third, and fourth. Those are the three drivers, I should say. Second, third, and fourth. Again, Logan Aron, the only one to crack into the 139s as we've got 9 minutes left to play in the session. We're halfway through. And let's pick up Friab Belay. Looks like he's got the McLaren in front of him. Looks like that would be Cameron Weston-Edwards. Edwards just finished his time lap. Louis Quinlan has just gone fifth quickest with a 148.54. And Friab is catching Cameron at a very, very precarious area. See if he can use a little bit of slipstream off of Cameron's car, plus the DRS, get a good run down this long front straightaway. Now Cameron should be diving into the pits this time by, as he just finished his hot lap, but Friab gets as much slipstream as he can for as long as he can, and a 140.435, second quickest on the charts. Still not able to crack into the 139s. Logan Aron a full second faster than Friab Belay. Great effort by Friab there. I'm going to pick up Ivan Brito. Ivan just dived in the pits, so we'll jump over to Sandro Dolius, who's yet to set a time. He's getting ready to cross the line now. Sandro with a great time, 140.194. Finally sets a time lap and goes second quickest on the charts. Good for him. We're going to pick up Lewis Marshall. Lewis just dived into the pits. Never mind. We'll pick up Tim Ventic. Tim's only set one timed lap that I know of, a 141.506. Currently only ninth quickest. We're going to ride along with him, see if he can improve that time. Oh, and Tim a little too deep into the corner there, it looked like. The turn-in was a little late for me. Now, Christian Dorman's time is locked in at that 141.369. It should be noted he's gone from fifth quickest to eighth quickest. Sandro went second quickest. Jesper Lempinen backed up his time, though, went 140 flat to jump back into second place. And I hate to say it, but with the exception of Logan Aron, if Logan wasn't here, we'd have a really tight field. But right now, it looks like everybody's going to be running for second against Logan Aron. And Logan just went a tick quicker, a 139.399. That puts a staple in his qualifying effort. He is 0.7 of a second clear. Actually, it's about 0.6 of a second clear of second place Jesper Lempinen as we ride along with Tim Ventic. Does Tim have anything for Logan as he comes down this front straightaway? Tim improves his time, fifth quickest on the charts, but it's still going to be a full second off of Logan's time. It looks like Oleski's off the pace. He'll be heading into the pits. Pick up Vincenzo Torri. Looks like Vincenzo's off the pace as well. We'll go back to Cameron Weston Edwards. Cameron currently 10th quickest. Now we see Senna Hayware is on an out lap. He does technically have a qualifying ban for today's race. He is allowed to do an installation lap, go out, and then head back into the pits. As long as he does not set a time, he will not be in violation of the rules. So Senna checking his setup the little bit that he can. Ivan Brito has yet to set a time. He's currently on an out lap. And maybe some teamwork there from Aston Martin. We'll have to check on Ivan, see if Ivan's going to be riding behind Senna. Maybe Senna gives him a little bit of a slipstream down this front straightaway. Right now we're riding along with Cameron Weston Edwards though. Ooh, runs it wide out to the wall, almost clipped it, gave it a little kiss as he went by. He's currently 11th quickest. Nick Van Gelder's bumped himself up into 9th, and Cameron's going to give up on the lap and dive into the pits. We'll pick up Ivan Brito, currently on an out lap. Now, it looks like Ivan is all by his lonesome. I thought maybe he'd be getting some help from Senna, who has that qualifying ban. And Senna is currently on a timed lap, so as long as he does not set an actual time, he won't be in violation of the rules. And Senna, car's looking very loose coming out of those corners. We're going to ride along with him, see what he does. Sandro on the live chat saying that was a great lap by Jesper Lempinen, and it's a 140 flat. That's good enough to put him into second place. It was a good lap. Sandro himself with a 140.1. Unfortunately, nobody able to touch the 139.399 by Logan Aron as time winds down. Caution flags in Sector 1 and Sector 3. Looks like Ivan has had an issue. He is off. He is retired from the session. He will not be able to set a time. Dion Stahl has now had an incident. He is now going to be out of this qualifying session. His time will be locked in at a 1:42.428. So, and it looks like Louis Quinlan has also retired from the session as well. Oh, and Senna Haywire is into the wall, and he has retired as well. So this is getting quite messy here. As Nicolo Falzarezzi doing an installation lap. Now he is letting a car go by. So we'll pick up Friab Delay. And Friab is off the pace. And Friab is letting a car go by, so he's possibly going to try and go around and do it again. That was Jesper Lempinen that just went by him. Jesper's on an out lap. We'll pick up Sandro Dulius. He's getting ready to start a hot lap as he comes across the line. This will be his last qualifying effort of the session. Currently 4th quickest, as Friab Delay has gone 139.555. I guess I missed that when I switched over to him. You know, my timing and scoring is a little off, but 2nd quickest for Friab Delay. That's why he slowed down. He's not going to be able to improve his time at all. Riding along with Sandro Dulius. Finished outside the points last week. Had a great qualifying effort at Monza last week. time is up. Hot laps will count. Looks like Nick Van Gelder is locked in at a 141.026. Good enough for 9th so far. Louis Quinlan has crashed out. He's locked in 8th with a 148.853. Christian Dorman's locked in at the 141.369, and Dion Stahl also crashed out. Senna Haywire and Ivan Brito. Senna crashed out, but he had a qualifying ban anyways. Ivan Brito crashed out. Nicolo Falzarezzi is currently listed as 17th with no time. He has a qualifying ban as well. So a lot going on here in the last couple of minutes of qualifying. Logan Arond is on a hot lap. Sandro runs it a little wide coming out of that corner. That's going to cost him a little bit of time as he brushes the wall. He's 2/10 up on his previous time. That would get him into the 139s. Whoa, that is super close, and it would actually catapult him over Oleski, who is locked into the 139.972. Can Sandro improve his position? And a 141.27, not good enough to get any better. Here comes Jesper Lempinen. Logan Arond, just to put a knuckle in everybody's back, goes 138.8. Jesper Lempinen with a 139.8, a full second off. And we're going to try and pick up Tim Ventic. And Tim Ventic came across the line. I didn't get to see his time. Currently 6th. Unbelievable qualifying session. Logan Arond with his league-leading 10th pole position of the season. Free Abili will be starting in second spot. Jesper Lempinen 3rd. Oleski is 4th. Sandro Dulli is 5th. Tim Ventic is 6th. Vincenzo Torri is 7th. Louis Quinlan 8th. Lewis Marshall 9th. Nick Van Gelder 10th. Christian Dorman is 11th. Cameron Weston Edwards will be starting in 12th. Dion Stahl will be 13th. And then everybody behind him, Senna Haywire had a qualifying ban. Ivan Brito crashed out. And Luke Smith and Nicolo Falzarezzi, rounding out 16th and 17th, both had qualifying bans, were unable to set times. So that was our 18-minute short qualifying session. We're about to back that up with a 50% race. It'll be 26 laps here at Baku, Azerbaijan. And we'll run down to that starting grid one more time during the warm-up lap. Looks like it'll be a bright, sunshiny day here at Baku for today's race. And it is a big race weekend out there in the real world. We've got the 12 hours of Sebring today. We've also got Formula One qualifying on the Saturday morning or Saturday afternoon, depending on where you are. We've also got the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series running this afternoon, along with the NASCAR Xfinity Series. And then tomorrow we've got the Formula One Grand Prix plus NASCAR Cup Series racing at Atlanta. It's a full-blown race weekend here in this March St. Paddy's Day weekend, and we are off on our warm-up lap. Logan Arond with his league-leading 10th pole position of the season. This is definitely Logan's race to lose. Everybody is going to be racing for second right now. Free Abile starting in the second position. Again, Free Abile, since he's joined the league, has not finished outside of the top 5. He's got 4 podium positions to his credit. He's been able to bump himself into 6th in points in a very, very short time. Jesper Lempinen qualified 3rd, and then you've got Oleski coming off of his win last week at Monza. We're at another low downforce track. Perhaps strategy will play out for him once again. Sandro Dulli with a great qualifying effort, 5th. Tim Ventic, who's been struggling the last couple of weeks, has lost touch with Logan Arond. He had the championship points lead for a little while, but Logan out 229 points to Tim's 195. Now, mathematically, he is still in contention, but the last couple of weeks, he has lost out. Vincenzo Torri is going to be starting in the 7th position, and Louis Quinlan making his second race back to SRL. It's good to have him on track. And again, Lewis Marshall making his return to SRL a few races ago. We're looking for big things out of him, see if he can put some points on the board today for Williams Racing. Nick Van Gelder, as much as I like having Nick in the booth with me, he's coming off of 2 DNFs in a row. I don't want Nick in the booth with me again today. He'll be looking to try and put some points on the board, being that he's had 2 DNFs in a row. And Christian Dorman crashed last week on the last lap, managed to come across the line in 8th with no front wing, put some points on the board. Cameron Weston Edwards coming off of a great race with some great defensive driving last week, finished 6th, but a 5-second time penalty assist at the end of the race dropped him to 9th. Dion Stahl will be starting in the 13th position. And Senna Haywire, currently with 5 DNFs to his credit, he'll be looking to try and finish a race. Points would be a plus. Ivan Brito crashed out in qualifying, but coming off of 2 strong performances the last couple of rounds, he'll be looking to do it again, work his way through the field, put some points on the board for Aston Martin. Luke Smith starting in the 16th position. This is nothing new to him, as he often starts in the back, works his way to the front. Had a bad race last time out as he finished 13th. Had a qualifying ban. He's starting in the 16th position, and along with Nicolo Falzaresi. Nicolo crashed out in qualifying last week, and because of that crash, he took out 2 other cars. Had a qualifying ban for today's race. So much like last week, he'll be starting in the same 17th position, dead last here at Baku. Now, Nicolo did work his way to 7th last week and picked up the fastest lap of the race. Be trying to do the same thing again today. So we're going to get ready to go green here. Waiting on the 5 red lights. Lights out, time to run what you brung. They're away in a puff of smoke, and it looks like it's a good start for Logan Arond. Oh, we've already got a car into the wall. Looks like that would be Christian Dorman. And already got a full course caution. Not even sure what happened to Christian. Looks like his car didn't get going, got shoved into the wall, broke the right front suspension, and his day is done before it even gets started. So immediately under a full course caution, that is a tough break for Christian Dorman. Not sure who else was involved in that. And that is a rarity. We've never had a car. I don't think in SRL history we've had a car. Uh-oh, we've got a caution under a caution. Who is that? And it looks like we're back to green flag racing. This has been very confusing. All right, so caution flag still flying all over the place. Looks like there was a virtual safety car. We've got some action going on at the back here. Oh, and Luke Smith has crashed out. Okay, so that's Luke Smith is gone. And Cameron Weston Edwards has no front wing, so he's been involved in an incident. Lewis Marshall looks like he's got some wing damage as well. Left front end plate is gone on his car. Louis Quinlan. So trying to get caught up with everything that's going on here. We've got Senna Haywire. Looks like he's side by side with Nick Van Gelder. It's a drag race down the front straightaway. And Senna is going to be able to pick up that position. Oh, and Nick loses the front end, bangs into the wall, takes the position back from Senna. Oh, and now Nick is into the wall. Nope, he's not into the wall. Oh, and Ivan Brito blows the corner as well. Nick's got wing damage on the right front end plate. Senna Haywire, Ivan Brito also went off. It's lots of crazy stuff going on here in the opening couple laps of this race, trying to keep up with everything that's going on. And it looks like Ivan was able to avoid contact with anybody, but he's going to have a wounded Nick Van Gelder in front of him. So let's try and get this running order reset with everything that's going on. Logan Arond is your leader, being pursued by Free Abile. These guys are running 1-2 within a second of each other. Jesper Lempinen is 3.5 seconds back. He's bringing Oleski, his teammate, with him. Sandro's still running in 5th, but he's got Vincenzo Torri all over the back of him, and he's bringing Tim Ventic with him. Tim started 6th, has dropped to 7th. Senna Haywire has found his way into the 8th position. Dion Stahl is currently 9th. And Nick Van Gelder rounds out your top 10 points-paying positions. He's got Ivan Brito behind him. Ivan will be able to easily get around him on the front straightaway. Nick's going to have to pit for a new wing. And then you've got Nicolo Falzarezzi. Nicolo's had an issue. Oh, and Nicolo goes around right in front of the Mercedes. Looks like that was Louis Quinlan. He's still in the middle of the track. And he's got a flat right rear tire. He's got no front wing. Nicolo's car is completely and utterly wounded. Christian Dorman has officially left this session. What a mess. And Senna Haywire is into the pits. Nick Van Gelder is into the pits as well. Be swapping out the front wing. Meanwhile, the battle for first rages on, and Friabile still within touch of Logan Aron, just inside that DRS gap. 0.8 of a second back. It's lap 3, so the DRS... Oh, and Lewis Marshall has retired from the session. He's had a DNF. And it has been chaos from green. Meanwhile, we ride with Friabile. He just got out of that 1 second range, of just outside the DRS range. It is lap 3. DRS should be enabled, but with everything that's going on this track right now, I can't believe we haven't had a full course caution or a full safety car. So in Friab, I'm going to ride along with him. He does have the DRS slot open, so he's going to try and be able to stay within reach of Logan. And there's also a battle for a 3-car battle here. This is Sandro Dolius in 5th, followed by Vincenzo Torri, followed by Tim Ventic, followed by Dion Stahl. No, I'll take that back. Sorry, that's a 4-car battle with Oleski, Sandro, Vincenzo, Tim. And caution flag flies in Sector 1. Looks like that might have been Dion. Dion's had an issue. Looks like Dion had an off. And we'll go back to this battle here. Oh, it's so close through the castle section. So Sandro able to separate the gap a little bit. I'm sorry, Oleski's been able to separate the gap back to Sandro. Sandro's still got Vincenzo Torri within striking distance of him, and he's bringing Tim Ventic with him. Meanwhile, Ivan Brito has quietly worked his way into the 8th position. Dion is right behind him, but Dion had that off back at turn 1. Ooh, and it's going to be tight through there. Now Dion should be able to make quick work of Ivan Brito down this front straightaway. Ivan looks like he almost touched the wall there through that corner. But Dion's got to let off the gas. He's got a lot of aero wash coming off of the slipstream of Ivan Brito's Aston Martin, but he'll have the slipstream, he'll have the DRS. He's going to be able to make quick work of this as they head down towards turn 1. Ivan trying to hang tough on the inside. Oh, and Ivan outbrakes himself. And he goes off into turn 1. Dion's going to take the position. Meanwhile, we pick up Tim Ventic running in the 7th position, trying to capture 6th. We're going to go back to the battle for front. Friabile currently running in 2nd, 0.7 of a second behind Logan Aron. Logan not running away with this race as I thought he would. He is actually still trying to scoot away from Friabile, but Friab is not letting that happen. And this is the tricky part here with the aero wash coming off of the car in front. We saw what Dion had to do. Dion had to let off the gas. Friab's able to keep it full song, but he does have to tiptoe through there just a little bit, loses out. DRS slot open, and this is going to be able to close the gap a little bit, but Friab's not going to be close enough to make a pass or even try and make a move. Does try to play the mirror game, get into the mirror of Logan Aron, but you're going to have to do better than that to find a way around Logan. Meanwhile, Tim still trying to find a way around Vincenzo Torri. Vincenzo's still trying to find a way around Sandro Duilius for 5th. Now, it should be noted, Nicolo Falzaresi is almost a full lap behind Logan Aron. In danger of going a lap down. Meanwhile, back to the front. Friab is sticking with him hard on the throttle there through that very tricky castle section that's called out so many drivers years past. Right now, this is the closest Friab has been to Logan Aron. He's within just about half a second. Oh, it's a little tight through there. Logan's been able to scoot away just a little bit. Oh, and Friab just kisses the wall, trying to arc the corner as much as he can. That's going to cost him just about a 10th. This is about the closest Friab's been through this section the past couple of times. He's still going to be too far back. Even with the DRS, he's going to be too far back to make a move heading into turn 1. Again, just gets into the mirror of Logan Aron. Meanwhile, Sandro now within half a second of Oleski, and he runs wide coming out of that corner. Just clips the wall. Behind him, Tim Ventic. Tim trying to find a way around them. And then we've got Louis Quinlan is making a move here. Just got around Senna Haywire. Senna dived into the pit. Louis finds himself in the top 10 now. And it looks like Friab may have had an issue at some point, and he's lost touch with Logan Aron a little bit. 1.5 seconds behind now. We've still got this battle going on for the 4th position. This is Oleski. Sandro Duilius. Vincenzo Torri now has lost touch with Sandro. So Sandro's within striking distance of Oleski. Slides the car a little bit as he comes out of that corner. Going to be down this long front straightaway. Able to keep it full throttle through the S's, down onto the front stretch. Caution flag flies. Sector 1 looks like that might be one of the Aston Martins. Is that Senna? Yep, looks like it was Senna's had an issue. He gets going again. And it looks like Tim was able to get around Vincenzo Torri for the 6th position. Sandro Duilius still running in 5th, trying to find a way around Oleski for that 4th position. Friab Bile is lost. Oh, and that's Tim Ventic just hit the wall. Vincenzo Torri trying to find a way around him now through this very tight section. We're going to be coming up to the castle section. Did any damage happen to Tim's Haas? Kind of pancaked the left side of the car into the wall, and he's looking a little slow right now. Possibly some left front wing damage. Very tricky castle section here. Meanwhile, Friabile, who was back 1.7 seconds, has now closed the gap back down to Logan Aron for the battle of this race. He's within 1 second. Vincenzo Torri. Oh, and Tim Ventic's got wing damage. That's what's happened there. He lost his whole front wing. So Tim loses out big time. He'll have to pit prematurely. And we've got a full course caution. We've got a safety car. I don't know if that's because of where the front wing is of Tim's car. Possibly laying in the middle of the track. Full course caution. Everybody's going to get a free pit stop. So Logan Aron is in and out and will continue to be your leader, followed by Friabile in second. Jesper Lempinen. And it looks like AlphaTauri double stack their cars. Jesper comes out. He's got Sandro Dolius right behind him. Vincenzo Torri is going to be coming out in the 5th position. And Oleski, because of that double stack, loses a couple of spots. He was 4th heading into the pits. He comes out 6th. Tim Ventic is going to be 7th. Deon Stahl is just now heading into the pits, as well as Louis Quinlan. We'll see if Cameron Weston Edwards heads into the pits as well. I feel like everybody will probably take this time to do a free pit stop. Oh, and look at Senna Haywire. He's got a flat right front tire. He's going to have to pit. He's got no front wing as well, so possibly a combination of a couple different issues that caused this safety car. Ivan Brito out on track. So Ivan will be able to move up into the 12th position. Looks like, I think he pitted not that long ago, so now this will be a good opportunity for Nicolo Falzaresi to try and get back to the pack, maybe make up some of the positions that he lost at the opening lap of this race. We started with 17 cars. We're down to 15. We've lost Lewis Marshall, Luke Smith, and Christian Dorman. Christian Dorman, I think, now holds the record for the quickest DNF in SRL history. The lights went out, and so did he. Not sure if his car didn't get going or if he was sleeping on the start, but got pushed into the wall, broke the right front suspension, and he was done. And Christian Dorman saying on the live chat that his crash looks even more evil in the stream than from my point of view. Brian Power on the live chat with us, former SRL driver. Good to have him with us. Sam Brandt, also former driver. And Sam bringing up a great point. Logan Aron and Friabile are both controller or pad drivers, as they refer to them as. And both insanely quick. Logan Aron, easily the fastest pad driver that I know of. Friabile giving him a run for his money this race. He's been able to stay within that 1 to 1.5 second range and was even as close as a half a second with the DRS at one point. Jesper Lempinen still running in a strong 3rd position. Sandra was able to pick up a spot through that pit sequence, along with Vincenzo Torri. Oleski, unfortunately, though, because of that double stack, he lost out 2 positions. Tim Ventic continues to struggle. Down in the 7th position. It's very uncharacteristic of Tim. Deon Stahl in 8th, and Louis Quinlan, again, showing some flashes of speed as he's running in the 9th position. Cameron Weston Edwards will be in 10th. And he'll have Nick Van Gelder behind him. Cameron and Nick often have some really good battles on track with each other. Ivan Brito's still in it, going to be starting in the 12th spot once we go green again. Senna, and then Nicolo Falzaresi, who's ultimately a lap down, it would seem. Let's see if we can get some detail here. So you see the mixture of hards versus mediums. So the top 2 are the ones to watch. Mediums for Logan, hards for Friabile. And I think we all know that race strategy is not my forte. So it'd be interesting to see if Logan can make the mediums last to the end of this race. That would be 16 laps on the medium tires. Granted, some of those are going to be under caution. Friab, though, has got the hard tires. He'll be able to run all the way to the end of the race with little to no issue whatsoever. So currently under this full course caution, the safety car has been out. We're waiting for Senna Haywire to catch up to the pack before we go green again. Multitude of incidents on this what led up to this safety car. We had Senna Haywire lose his front end. He lost the front wing of his car, had a flat right front tire. Tim Ventic, I believe it was, that lost his front wing as well. There was debris all over the track. We started with 17 cars, have 14 remaining after the opening lap. We're now working lap 11 of 26. And we have yet to get confirmation of a green flag. It should be coming this time by, though. Niccolo Falzarezzi and Senna Haywire should be catching up to the queue, as they call it. Through the very tricky castle section. There we go. Race control safety car in this lap. So that'll make Logan and Ron the control car. However, it'll be the long front straightaway, so not a whole lot of trickery can go on for Logan. Let's see if he could catch anybody napping. Friabile really trying to be all over that gearbox. There we go, we're off to the races. Oh, we've got a lot going on behind us. That's going to be Vincenzo Torri's going to try and make a position up under this restart. Not going to be able to make it work, though. Oh, Tim Ventic does a crossover move, though. He's to the inside of Oleski. And Tim's going to be able to get that position. Oh, and there's contact. That's Dion Stahl. He's into the wall along with... Looks like it was Senna Haywire who had a little bit of a contact there as well. So Dion got bumped from behind. He's going to have wing damage. He'll have to pit again. Meanwhile, back at the front, you've got Logan Aran trying to scoot out over Friabile, 1.2 seconds. Jesper Lempening, he cuts that corner very tight. He's got bringing Sandro Dulius with you. Through the very tight castle section as we hop on board with Vincenzo Torri on the wing cam. Tim Ventic up into the 6th spot. And we're going to have a very tight mid-pack battle again, as it looks like Vincenzo just gave the chrome horn to Sandro Dulius as he head into that corner. And now it's going to be very, very tight and interesting down this front straightaway. Out onto the front stretch. Oh, and look at this. Tim Ventic, no DRS, but he's got the slipstream from Sandro's Ferrari in front of him. Moves up into the 5th spot. And look at this. Vincenzo's going to lose out on 2 positions. As Oleski is going to take back that 6th spot. Great move by Oleski and Tim Ventic. Tim now up into 5th. And in the midst of all this, Logan Aron has been able to scoot away. He is now 2.5 seconds ahead of Free Abile, and that is what Tim has, or that's not what Tim, that's what Logan has been looking for, and that could be the medium tires versus the hard tires here in the early going of this stint. Be interesting to see if Free Abile can get that time back as the stint goes on and these hards come into their own. Meanwhile, Sandro Dooley is running in the 4th spot, holding off a whole pack of cars behind him. He's got Tim Ventic in 5th, Oleski in the 6th position, Vincenzo Torri is 7th, and Louis Quinlan has worked his way into 8th. Uh-oh, we've lost Nick Van Gelder and Senna Haywire. Looks like they've had an issue at the castle section. And it looks like that's going to bring out the safety car again. So halfway through this race, and we've lost a whole slew of cars. And with that, it looks like we're going to try and get... I guess we'll go out of our way to get Nick Van Gelder in here again for the 3rd week in a row. And Brian Power on the live chat saying that I did jinx Nick earlier in this race. Commentator's curse. That is 3 DNFs in a row for Nick Van Gelder. That is his 4th one of the season. And Nick has been having a heck of a time these last few weeks. Actually had a halfway decent race today going, battling for some points, but we'll see if we can get him back into the live chat. We'll give him a couple minutes to cool down, collect his thoughts. I'm sure he's upset about what just transpired. So that's going to reset the running order a little bit. Epic the Animal, Logan Aron, the American from Pennsylvania, running in 1st. Free Abile, the Ethiopian, running in 2nd. Jesper Lempinen running in 3rd. Sandro Dulius is 4th. Oleski is 5th. Vincenzo Torri is 6th. Louis Quinlan has worked his way up into 7th. Cameron Weston Edwards, bit of a quiet day, has worked his way into 8th. Tim Ventic drops back to 9th. Ivan Brito in the points. Dion Stahl, we saw him have that incident on the opening restart, in 11th. And Nicolo Falzarezzi still trying to find his way back around to pick up his lap. And it looks like we do have Nick with us in the booth, sadly, once again, for the 3rd week in a row.
Yeah, it's been like 3 races since I last saw a checkered flag, and yeah, I was really aiming to finally see the finish again, but in the castle section, Senna made a move up the inside, basically dived me and took us both out, so yeah.
So Senna tried to make a pass at the castle section?
Yes, it was not very smart, and he's saying that it wasn't intentional, and he sort of went for a fake dive and braked a bit late, and then yeah, he was on my inside. I had to brake a bit early because I was stuck behind Cameron, who had a bit of damage as well, so I sort of braked a bit earlier because Cameron braked early, and then Senna dived up the inside, sort of had nowhere to go, but he did go for a silly dive, just took us both out in the gas section, so yeah.
I am not a racer, but I will tell you that any move at the castle section is a bonehead move, plain and simple.
Yeah, exactly. I agree, to be honest.
There is no other way around that. That is just, I mean, the cars are so wide that one barely fits through there as it is. Like, there's no reason.
Yeah, exactly.
There's no reason to try and do anything at the castle section.
Yeah, and I don't think he was like trying to. He wasn't setting it up and trying to overtake, but I think he just braked late and went up the inside because, yeah, there was nowhere to go. So I don't think it was like completely an intentional move, but it was just a silly mistake from Senna. So yeah, took us both out.
So Senna showing his inexperience once again. We started with 17 cars. We have 12 remaining. I mean, while we're under the yellow flag, Nick, how was your race up to that point?
Well, not very good actually. I messed up in qualifying, both in my quickest lap and also in my timing with my run, so I couldn't get a final run in. And yeah, in the race I had a really bad start at a burst of wheel spin, and I think that indirectly sort of caused Cameron and Christian to collide, and that's why Christian crashed out so early on at the race starts. And then I think also again with Senna, I think he overtook me and in turn 1, and he sort of lost the back end, and I repassed him again coming into turn 2. And then he sort of also outbraked himself and hit me and pushed me into the escape road. And Ivan Brito actually went up the escape road as well because he outbraked himself. But it also gave me a bit of damage, so I had to pit. But then I went to a set of hards, and I was sort of behind Cameron just following him when then the safety car was caused by Tim Benting, who was actually very lucky to still be in the race because I think he lost his entire front wing. But I think, yeah, I was expecting that the restart would give me a chance to recover again. And you know, it sort of recovered my setbacks from earlier on in the race, and with that first incident with Senna, but yeah, then like just in the first lap after the restart, then yeah, that happened in the castle section. So yeah, it seems like I just can't finish races anymore. It's almost like it's a curse.
Yeah, blame it on the commentator. Brian said I jinxed you earlier in the race. As we go back to green flag racing, good restart by Logan Aron, but Friat Belay hanging tough with him. Jesper Lempinen behind him in third. And Logan's not able to scoot away as much as he wanted to as last time. Friab's going to go. And look at this. Sandro Julius trying to make a move on Jesper Lempinen to the inside. And Sandro is going to fight for that third position. He's going to think better of it. Oleski is all over him now. So Sandro Julius finds himself the meat in an AlphaTauri sandwich. And we've got Nicolo Falzaresi. No, that is Vincenzo Torri to the inside, trying to pick up the fifth position.
Ventic is out.
And Ventic and Louis Quinlan.
And I think he collided with Nicolo Falzaresi. Tim Venting. Wow, what a mistake for the Dutchman, with Logan Aron leading the way. Tim Venting crashes out straight away after the restart.
And we saw Louis Quinlan was involved in that, backed the Mercedes into the wall. He's still hanging tough in 7th position. What a mess.
Yeah. Oh, it was Louis Quinlan involved, wasn't it? Yeah.
So
wow.
no full course caution, but yeah, another DNF and another blow to Tim Bentik's championship contention. And with the way things are going, Tim, I mean, it's still a 30-point gap. I won't say he's in danger of losing second into points, but
yeah,
he's had a rough go the last few weeks.
Yeah, this was a crucial race for him. I feel so sorry for Tim Benting for crashing out. I don't think it was his fault. I think it looked like he was... Oh, there was somebody else involved in the incident. Nicolo Falzaresi is retired. I'm not sure who the other car was, but I think it was in the braking zone where he just collided with someone and lost his wheel and flew up the escape road. But what a blow for Tim Benting, another setback for him, and this is definitely gonna give a big impact on the championship. And it's also eventually, having such a big gap with Logan Aron again leading the way, as you have another safety car. This is really gonna be a mental sting as well for Tim Benting.
So it looks like Oleski and Ivan Brito and Cameron Weston Edwards were able to catch that safety car notification quicker than Sandro. It looks like Sandro faked going into the pits. And Sandro drives around the safety car. So another full course caution. This is in relation to Tim Ventic and then Nicolo Falzaresi also crashing out. So we started with 17 cars, we're down to 10. The good news for that is everybody gets points if they can finish the race.
Yeah, definitely that's the only benefit for the drivers indeed, that are still left running. But yeah, this might be the moment where we look back on the end of this championship where Tim Benting has possibly lost the championship to Logan Aron.
Now, 2 safety cars ago, Logan took medium tires on lap 11, and I thought to myself, I don't know if he can make them stretch all the way to the end, but he's had so many caution laps that there's no benefit, because Friab Bile behind him took hard, so now there's no benefit for Friab to run a long stint and have those mediums drop off.
Yeah, that's a good point, because the mediums need, like, in green flag conditions, they only last about 10 laps, but with all those laps behind the safety car, you can definitely stretch them longer, so there's, of course, very limited tire sets available to the drivers. They only have one set of mediums and one set of hards with the standard allocation, so you have to be very mindful of that with all of those safety cars, so you can't just keep making free pit stops for new sets of tires, because they're going to be used up, so yeah, it's definitely a good point to try and stretch it, because you have so many yellow flag laps on the safety car, where, of course, the tire wear is going to be a lot less severe.
And I think you're right. I think as this season progresses, it is starting to wind down. Round 14 last week, round 15 today. This could be the defining point of the championship. Tim Bentic crashing out. I mean, it is Logan's race to lose at this point. Friab Bile's done a great job hanging tough with him throughout the course of this race, not letting him get away, but actually has not really been able to contend for the top spot. He's only been able to stay within striking distance. Meanwhile, you got Jesper Lempinen, who's been running third all day. Sandra behind him has been holding off a whole slew of cars, seems like most of the day now.
So yeah, Tim Bentic is admitting that it was his own fault. He, of course, the field was very, very bunched up, and he sort of missed, he couldn't see the braking markers, I think, and he sort of outbraked himself, and then he did actually hit Nicola Valtresi, who also retired because of that. I think Valtresi just had a lot of damage and then retired in the pit lane. But Tim Bentic does admit it was his mistake. He just braked too late and slammed into the back of the Alfa Romeo of Valtresi.
Well, Valtresi, who was on a tear for a number of races, unfortunately last week and this week has not been able to put it together. He had that qualifying ban today because of the qualifying incident that he had last week. Now, he was able to move up 10 spots last week, pick up the fastest lap, but after coming off of a string of podium finishes and a win, he's had a rough couple of weeks as well. He's lost contention for the middle of the top 10 in points. And he was just behind Oleski, fourth in points, 158 versus 165.
And this will definitely be Logan Aron's race and championship to lose. And with such a big gap in the championship, this is really going to be a psychological thing as well for Tim Bentic. You know, it's going to be so hard to try and reset the mind and still fight for this, because you know it's going to be a very, very steep mountain to climb for Tim Bentic.
So we get ready to go back to green flag racing once again.
So Logan Aron controlling the pace. It's a very, very long straight here. There is a lot of room to
and
pick.
A good jump by Logan Aron, but Friab able to hang tough with him just a little bit, but we've got some shuffling going on in the back. Looks like Vincenzo Torri is making the move on Sandro Dulias for the fourth position. Sandro loses out. Vincenzo up into fourth, and now Louis Quinlan is trying to find a way around Sandro for the fifth spot. Oleski up into seventh, and looks like Cameron Weston-Edwards, who started in 10th, has moved up to 9th over Ivan Brito. And side by side, Cameron Weston-Edwards side by side with Dion Stahl, and he's going to take that position. Cameron up into 8th.
Yeah, I'm sort of interfering there, but Logan Aron's still doing the way. He's already bridging that gap to Free Billet to 8/10. Of course, with such a long start-finish straight, the rest is going to be very, very powerful to stick with one another. We can still see the Aston Martin and the Ferrari of Dion Stahl and Ivan Brito going side by side through the middle sector as well.
Meanwhile, you've got 3rd through 7th is all nose to tail with each other. Ivan Brito and Dion Stahl, as you said, still going back and forth as they get ready to head into the castle section.
And already Logan Aron has bridged the gap to 1.1 seconds. He's pushing to get outside of there as 1 second window for Friab Bile to try and hang on to this race win with 7 laps remaining.
Meanwhile, Vincenzo Torri going to try and close that gap. He's just a second outside of the 3rd spot. He tries to get that last spot on the podium. Meanwhile, Louis Quinlan loses a position out to Oleski. Oleski on those fresh mediums moves into the 6th spot. Working lap 19 of 26. And Cameron Weston-Edwards made that move up into the 8th position. He's trying to close down on Louis Quinlan for that 7th spot. So getting a little bit of separation here from some of these cars as we ride along with Oleski. Thought about making a move on Sandro Dulius for the 5th position, but thinks better of it as they head down into turn 1. Waiting for that DRS to become enabled again and see if he can make a move down into turn 3, but he won't have DRS this time by. He does get the slipstream though, side by side, and blows by him. Oh, I thought he was going to outbrake himself there for a second heading into that corner, but he's able to slow the car down. And Oleski nice up into 5th.
Alexei Kovanemi. Also, Jesper LeBrun, he's having a really good race. He's in P3, he's been quick all week and had a really good qualifying as well. Qualifying on the front row, I believe. So, very good to see Jesper LeBrun so high up as well and having such a good pace today, because this has definitely been his best race of the season so far.
Now, Oleski is all over the back of Vincenzo Torri for the 4th position as they head up through the castle section.
And also Logan Ron, he is already 2 seconds clear, but of course he is on those medium tires, the same age as Freya Bila, who also stayed out on the hard tires. They pitted on the same lap. But of course those hard tires might have a bit of an advantage as we get towards the last few laps of this race, having a better tire life for Freya Bila on the harder compounds.
Well, Oleski pitted on that last safety car for a fresh set of mediums, and it is working out for him. He's the fastest car on track right now. Hasn't set the fastest lap of this race, but currently fastest car on track as he gets ready to make a move around Vincenzo Torri for the 4th position. Side by side down the front straightaway. DRS is finally enabled after the green flag start. Now Vincenzo's going to try and hang tough on the inside. He's not going to be able to outbrake him though. Oleski picks up the 4th position. He's going to set his sights on his teammate Jesper Lempinen, who he's 2.7 seconds behind right now. Sandro Dulius running in the 6th position, trying to hold off a hard-charging Louis Quinlan. And now we're going to get ourselves a bit of a DRS train with 5th through 7th. Ooh, and Louis Quinlan just gave the chrome horn to Sandro Dulius, bumped him in the gearbox. Don't think it was on purpose, just a bit of outbraking.
Yeah, fortunately it's been a much cleaner and calmer restart than the previous one, and looks like everyone has settled into a rhythm again. Free Relay is continuing to lose time to Logan Aron. If he is going to score the full 25 points here, that's going to, bridge his gap in the championship over 50 points. This has definitely been a crucial race for the championship with just, I believe, 6 rounds remaining after this, so I think Logan Ron is definitely also conscious of the fact that he's going to have a big blow in the championship after he has scored a good result here.
It looks like Cameron Weston-Edwards might have had an incident there coming out of the corner. Looks like he might have brushed the wall. Doesn't look like he did any damage to the car, but definitely cost himself some time. It's going to give Ivan Brito a little bit of a chance to close that gap. He's now within striking distance. He's in the DRS zone.
Also Louis Quinlan pretty close to the back of Sandro Dulius, 4/10 of a second behind Louis Quinlan in the slipstream, but not close enough just yet. The return to SRL on the previous round of Monza unfortunately crashed out, so we're looking to score a few points today.
So Ivan within DRS range of Cameron Weston-Edwards, not close enough to make a move that time by. But we will pick up Sandro, who has got, like I said, that hard-charging Louis Quinlan behind him. And Sandro a bit of a sitting duck right now because he does not have the DRS advantage. He is too far back from Vincenzo Torri to use that DRS. So 3-car battle for the 6th position. Sandro, Louis Quinlan, and Cameron Weston-Edwards.
Looks like Dion Stiles also made a mistake. He is 10 seconds behind this group. If we left a lot of damage, he might have had a mistake or a spin somewhere.
Actually, I got my timing all messed up. It's Vincenzo, Sandro, and Louis Quinlan, 5th, 6th, and 7th. Vincenzo's the one that's going to be a sitting duck. Because I can't read.
Also, Ivan Brito close to the McLaren of Cameron Weston-Edwards in the battle for P8. He's going to have to slipstream and the DRS as well once we get to the start-finish straight. And meanwhile, Leo Quinlan is also a little bit closer to the back of Senna Dulles than on the previous lap, so maybe he can try and attack him on the straight here for P6.
Whoa, and Louis, as we ride on board, goes just a little wide, almost kissed the wall coming out of those S's. He's going to have the DRS, but so is Sandro.
And Ivan Brito does get through on Cameron West-Edwards for P8.
Oh, and a 3-second time penalty for Louis Quinlan. That's unfortunate. And as it stands right now, he would lose out of position to Ivan Brito just by a hair. And it should be noted, that's the first driver that's had a timing penalty today. That's actually really impressive.
He has been relatively clean so far in terms of penalties, of course. This track
Oh, and a 3-car stack up. What's going to happen here? And now it's a 5-car stack up.
Oh, the Alfa Romeo is blocking the track there, and he's spinning again. Oh,
Vincenzo goes around.
Oh man, what a shame for those drivers. Probably a lot of damage for a lot of them, and of course with a track like this, the track is almost completely blocked. Somebody is stationary diagonally on the racetrack.
Caution flag flying in Sector 1. Looks like Dion was having an issue. Vincenzo's still having an issue with his car. Not to mention he probably overheated those tires, spinning it around a couple of times.
Oh, and he had a big moment again. But yeah, this does give Dylan again the chance as well to move up in position. Very unfortunate for Vincenzo to make that mistake and drop back so much. But this is definitely shaking things up again. Ivan Brito now into P5. Cameron moves up 2 positions to P6 as well. Lou Quinlan was involved too. He's in P7. And Senna Dulles was the victim in that as well. Now back down to P8.
So I'm going to pick up Ivan Brito's car and see if he's got any... He does have right front end plate damage on his wing. So he's going to be a sitting duck. He's going to have to tiptoe through the S's here. Cameron should be able to make quick work of him. And he's going to bring Louis Quinlan with him. Now, Louis got a right front tire down. He's into the wall.
Dylan Starr's going to come up to that as well. He's in a very dangerous spot there. Oh, yeah, he's on the outside, luckily, so he's not on the racing line. But yeah, what carnage here in the last couple of laps in the final phase of this race.
I just picked up Louis Quinlan as that tire went flat, slammed him into the wall. And now, it's actually 3 laps to go in what has been a chaotic race for sure. We started with 17 cars. We have 9 remaining. Unbelievable. And Ivan Brito with a wounded Aston Martin going to try and stay out in front of a hard-charging, very aggressive Cameron Weston-Edwards. Meanwhile, Oleski is all over the back of his teammate Jesper Lempinen for the 3rd position.
Yeah, great to see the 2 AlphaTauri teammates fighting for the final podium position here. That's going to be an interesting battle to see how this will play out. And of course, Ivan Brito now up to P5. He's very closely followed by Cameron Weston-Edwards. Oh, and Ivan Brito outbraked himself there. Cameron moves up to P5. And Ivan almost smashed into the wall there just before the castle section. But yeah, I didn't know it was a flat tire for Louis Quinlan. That's very unfortunate to get a flat tire in that part of the circuit.
Now, realistically, Ivan Brito was a sitting duck with that broken front wing.
Oh,
he would have lost that position out regardless. Meanwhile, we go back to the battle for 3rd here. Oleski with his teammate Jesper Lempinen in the AlphaTauri.
Alexi is going to be aided by the slipstream here. A long line of slipstream, but he's not close enough. But it's great to see the AlphaTauri teammates so close. Jesper Lempinen, I'm not sure what his best result in SRS, but it must have been a very long time since he last had a podium, because this has definitely been the best form we've seen from him in a long time.
It's been a couple seasons to the best of my knowledge for Jesper. He is a solid driver, but he's a solid mid-pack driver. He has shown flashes of speed. He's got a pole position to his credit. He does have a couple of podiums, but it has been a long time since he's been up there. And I'm sure that there's no team orders between these two, but they do seem to have a fairly good relationship with each other. It'd be interesting to see how aggressive they'll be with each other in the closing laps of this race. And a 3-second time penalty for Vincenzo Torri, currently running in the 9th position, so that's inconsequential to him. And this is the closest battle on track we have right now. And they're actually closing the gap a little bit to Friabile.
Yeah, Friabile seems to be struggling a little bit. It's now 5 seconds to Logan Ron. He has got this race win covered. I think it's will be like the 3rd victory in a row for Logan Ron, wouldn't it?
Yeah, and Logan probably has no idea about the carnage that is going on behind him. He's been out front. And Oleski clips the wall coming out of that corner. That's going to cost him, and that might have been the nail in the coffin that Jesper needed to secure this podium finish as we head into the final lap of this race. Now, Jesper is still within DRS range, but he's 9/10 of a second back. He's not going to be close enough to make a move heading into turn 1.
Yeah, it's Alexei in 4th place, isn't it? He's still just hanging on to his teammate by his fingernails. It's just under a second still on this final lap, so it looks like Jesper Lempinen will hang on to the first podium in a long time.
He's going to have another shot coming down this section here towards turn 3. Only within 8/10 of a second. He'll have the DRS advantage, but again, won't be close enough to make that move. These guys are heading through the castle section here in just a minute. We'll pick up Logan Aron, the man from Pennsylvania, looking to secure another win. It would be Logan's 8th win of the season.
Yeah, he's definitely keeping his promise that he made at the start of the season, that he was going to push very hard after losing out on the championship, of course, last year. He was determined to fight for the championship this year. Unaware of the drama that's happened behind him today, he is still leading the way by 5 seconds as he heads into the final sector. It's going to be an 8th win of the season as he increases his lead in the championship over Tim Ventink.
So win number 8, a league-leading 10 pole positions. As you said, he just missed out on the championship last season. It was a real knuckle in his back as he comes across the line. Good for him. And it should be noted, Friab Bile finishing 2nd. He has not finished outside of the top 5 since joining this league. Jesper Lempinen is going to be able to hold off his teammate for the 3rd position. Oleski will be 4th. Cameron Weston Edwards, after everything that happened last week and earlier in this race, finds himself in the 5th position. A good solid run, making up for last week's debacle with Lewis Marshall at Monza at Lesmos 1.
Senadulis will pick up P7. I think he's going to be a little bit disappointed by that, of course. He was involved in an incident with a couple laps remaining, and he's going to finish just in front of his teammate Dion Stahl in P8 with Vincenzo Torre. Rounding out the field, still scoring 2 points, being the last of the finishers.
And Ivan Brito with another great run. That's 3 races in a row. He's put some points on the board for Aston Martin. He'll be finishing 6th. Dion Stahl will come across the line in the 8th spot. And Vincenzo Torre rounding out the 9 remaining cars. What a chaotic race.
Yeah, you would say that Logan Aron now, with this 8th victory of the season, will have one hand on that championship trophy. There's still one way to go. Of course, anything can happen, but it's definitely a mental and a physical blow to Tim Ventink as well. He is now so far behind. But well
and
done
Ivan Brito with the driver of the day from the game. That's great for Ivan.
Yeah, I mean, he did have a really good race. He did have a lot of damage as well for a long bit, I think, in the first stint of the race as well. He was struggling a lot and having a couple of incidents, but he did recover well from that to finish in P6.
And a very familiar sight, Logan Aron, the Pennsylvanian, on top step of the podium once again, along with Friab Bile and Jesper Lempinen. It's been a long time since he's had a podium finish. He's going to get my vote for driver of the day, coming in 3rd. A good, strong run from him. As you said, he was fast all weekend. Qualified well, raced well, held off his teammate who is contending for the championship, though just barely hanging on to that.
Yeah, well done to Jesper Lampinen, and also a good drive again by Friab Bile. And another mistake-free race for the American Logan Aron, and you gotta feel sorry for Tim Ventink as well, because he's gonna be really, really upset with another DNF.
So unofficial results, Logan Aron is your winner, followed by Friab Bile, Jesper Lempinen in 3rd, Oleski will be 4th, Cameron Weston Edwards is 5th, Ivan Brito 6th, Sandro Dulius was 7th, Dion Stahl was 8th, and Vincenzo Torre was 9th. Those were the finishing cars. 10th through 17th is all DNFs. That is Louis Quinlan, Tim Ventink, Nicolo Falzarezzi, Nick Van Gelder with me once again, Senna Haywire, Lewis Marshall, Luke Smith, and Christian Dorman, who I think holds the record for the quickest DNF in SRL history. What a race.
Christian Dorman indeed crashed out just after the start of the race, even like before we got into turn 1. But what a race indeed, and lots of crashes. Unfortunately, I was involved in a crash as well, but only 9 finishes out of 17 starters. This is something that you don't see very often. But yeah, unfortunately for everybody who crashed out today, and of course I'd say that the biggest crash that will influence the championship was of course Tim Venting. But I mean, well done to Logan Ron again for staying out of trouble. It seems like his fortunes have turned around after a lot of crashes and bad luck last year. It seems like he has definitely improved even further this year to really fight for this championship.
It looks like Sandro is admitting fault on the live chat where that incident with Vincenzo. That's an interesting take on that. It was hard to see what transpired initially, but it was a 3-car pileup that turned into almost a 5-car pileup. As you said, the track is too small. Ivan Brito and Cameron was able to capitalize on that and pick up a couple of positions.
Yeah, and I think the gap, it was 28 points, wasn't it? So with the fastest lap as well for Ron, it's now going to be 54 points in the championship between the top 2.
Yeah, it is definitely getting to be less and less attainable for Tim Ventic to defend that championship title. So, but that is going to do it for us here from Baku, Azerbaijan. Round 15 of Season 8 here for SRL on the PlayStation platform, F1 2022. Guys, like, subscribe, and comment to the YouTube channel. Check us out on Instagram. Follow us on the internet. The link is in the description below. And we will see everybody in the next round.